Now, if you'll notice, my teammate, Gerald, is on the ground, not moving. And like a good coach always does, I'm not going to do anything about it. Let's keep this show going. Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of the PHNX Suns postgame show, of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. I'm Eric, that's Gerald, and that's Noah, and I promise you we will have a more even distribution of work today than the Phoenix Suns did, as they lost the New York Knicks 112-98. I'm out of breath because I just sprinted across the office right before our show started, so I'm feeling good. Adrenaline's pumping, Gerald.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Predictably discouraged by that.
Yeah.
And we've been saying this for the last couple of games, like you're getting all that you could possibly ask for out of Devin Booker at this point in the season with Kevin Durant out. He's been carrying the scoring load. We've had our questions about him taking a step back this season as a scorer. And while, you know, the last 4 or 5 games don't outweigh the 70-some that came before, he has been performing up to the standard that you need to be competitive in these games. He is just not getting the help that he needs out of his supporting cast. The defense remains a massive concern for this group. And offensively, you're not even cracking 100 points because you are shooting about 12% from 3 in an actual NBA game.
Yeah.
Like, it's discouraging because they've gotten more attempts than their opponents these last few games. They have actually been doing what we've been begging them to do all season long in that regard and just giving themselves a chance, but they're not making any shots, man. It's so discouraging.
It's really discouraging, especially because this team is built around good offense, or supposed to be good offense. Before we get too far into it, we are going to talk about Bradley Beal. Of course, we're going to talk about the role players. We have another fun game to play at the end, a little draft/build a team that we're going to be doing in the final segment. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to PHNX Sports. Let's keep doing 125 as the like goal on these losses. You guys have been amazing, sticking with us throughout this season. Sweet release is nearly upon us, just a week away. But we usually don't do this so early, but since we have to talk about Devin Booker, I think it's pretty clear who our big, bright, shining star, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I am a big, bright, shining star.
It's obviously Devin Booker once again. 40 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 16 of 29 from the floor. Only 2 of 7 from 3, but he had half of the Suns' 3-point makes today. Because they only made 4. And he got to the foul line 7 times, made 6 of those. Devin Booker remains the engine that drives the Suns right now, especially with Kevin Durant sidelined. He provided more than enough. We know that he loves playing at Madison Square Garden, but really just did not get the help that he needed today. He outscored the other 4 starters by himself, by the way. The other 4 starters had a combined 30 points. Devin Booker had 40. He also made more field goals combined than the rest of the starters.
Yeah, but you know, there was somebody else that helped Devin Booker out today. So let's just also name our PHNX-Factor.
X gon' give it to you.
Oh. Oh, wait.
Well, that's
wait,
uncomfortable.
that's Devin Booker.
Is it the same guy?
Is this the first time
Same guy
that we've ever given a big, bright, shining star and a PHNX-Factor to the same person?
It might be, but it's crucial right now to drive home that point that he's not getting enough help from the guys around him right now. Like, I know it's tough with Kevin Durant out. A lot of guys have to step up, but when your next leading scorer is Beal, who only came alive for like the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game.
Once it was too late.
Once it was too late, once you were already down double digits. And then Grayson Allen, like, I'll give him credit. He was putting pressure on the rim a little bit, could not hit a three like the rest of the team to save his life. He was 0 for 6, but at least he was driving and getting to the foul line. He got there 7 times as well. But that was pretty much it. Nobody else was able to muster up anything offensively. No one could hit a shot. It's just very demoralizing when you're in a game where you're only down 5 with like 5 or 6 minutes to go. You actually have a chance despite being shorthanded, and you just cannot get over the hump because you can't combine timely stops with timely buckets on the other end. It felt like there were so many open threes that they just missed with no one even in the vicinity. And at this point in the season, like, this is why we were bemoaning all of those losses earlier in the year, not just because when they lose, it hurts, but you can't put yourself in this position where you have a night like this down the stretch when you absolutely need wins just to stay alive in the play-in hunt.
Yeah, this isn't about seeding, right? Or where you're going to be in the playoffs or where you're going to be in the play-in. Mm-hmm. No, it's about getting into just some semblance, just a sniff of postseason action. Yep. But results aside, because I feel like we have to do that at this point, Gerald, how important has this recent stretch from Devin Booker playing well on the offensive end in the scoring department meant to you, in the fact of like, okay, long-term, big picture, what's the importance of these stretch of games?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good to watch him be the Devin Booker that we know he can be, because we haven't seen it as much this season as we have in years past. So for me, and I said this last game too, going into the offseason, because we're pretty much almost there at this point, I'm reassured by that heading into next year with or without Kevin Durant. If it's with Kevin Durant, you hope that Booker can tap into this Devin Booker more often, because I do think he's been very focused this season on the playmaking and doing the little things and trying to get guys involved. I think defensively he's needed to be better, but on the offensive end, I feel like he's been trying to do a little bit more and be more well-rounded instead of being the killer that he has to be over these last couple of games. Like we've seen, like there is no other option but for Devin Booker to go out and score 30, 35, 40 points for this current iteration of this team to be competitive, and he's doing that. So if it's with Kevin Durant, I hope that he's able to tap into that more regularly. And if it's without Kevin Durant, it's reassuring to see that, okay, in these last few games where KD has been sidelined, he can flip that switch. Like this season hasn't ruined him. He hasn't regressed. He's not washed or whatever. Like he's still very much Devin Booker. It's his approach that is going to potentially need to be exactly like it is right now next season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe in the chat says it means nothing. We know he can score when he's the only option. But Gerald, earlier this season, when Book was the only option, or it was just Book and Beal, we saw him struggle to get into that mode and into that mindset. And maybe it was because he was still trying to shift back and forth, and that was really early in the season, so he was fresh off of Olympic Booker. I think going into the offseason, and I've said this for the last couple of games because you just have to take the positives where you can get them, that this scoring stretch is actually extremely important, not just for Devin Booker, but I also feel like for the fan base. Not that anybody's going to change their mind or feel better about this season on a whole level because Devin Booker is actually scoring like Devin Booker as of late. But there is a sort of vindication for those diehard fans, which a majority of the people in here and a majority of Suns fans feel like, hey, Devin Booker's still that guy and still our guy. I'm not going to go out here and tell you he's been better than Kevin Durant because he hasn't been. Few players have, but he is still somebody who can go out there and can win you a game on his own. But with this team, the way that they have felt like they have just been falling flat, and Tyus Jones before the game mentioning that it feels like they've played with no energy and just don't come out with that oomph that they need. You know, it's hard for a single person to win that game. We saw it when KD was the only player who was scoring and putting up good numbers at certain points this season when either Book was struggling or off the court. So to be reminded of that and not to go into the offseason having this looming thought of, man, even when Book had the opportunity to, he didn't show us who he was still. I appreciate that, even though it doesn't change a ton about the situation that the Suns are in.
Yeah, I know that most of us knew that Book could be this guy, but some people were actually starting to doubt that. And you look earlier in the season, like you mentioned, when KD was out and Book was constantly getting double teamed, he really struggled during that stretch. He was not the Devin Booker that we've seen over these last 4 or 5 games. So that is reassuring to me heading into next season that he can still very much tap into that. Now the question is, of course, how you're going to build around him, and we're going to dive into all of that once the offseason is officially here in full force. Because like someone in the chat mentioned, Book cannot do it by himself. Very few superstars in the NBA can do it by themselves. You need a good supporting cast. You usually need a co-star to be able to be a contender. And as we saw today, Devin Booker had none of those things in this game against the Knicks, and that's why they came up short.
No, and we'll talk about Bradley Beal in depth next segment, but when you get 5 points from Royce O'Neal, 5 points from Nick Richards, 0 points from Cody Martin, who only played 3 minutes tonight, which I found interesting, 8 points from Oso, 5 points from Tyus Jones, 0 points from Colin Gillespie, you just kind of got to throw your hands up and say, what do we do? Plus, somebody said in the chat earlier, apologies for forgetting who it was, but the Knicks are just a better team. They're a deeper team, too. And we did a pregame show with Andrew from Knicks Film School, and it was basically like, OG Anunoby's been hot, and Mikal Bridges has been up and down, but still good. And Cat has his weaknesses, but he's still good. Josh Hart is super fun to watch. Jalen Brunson is back. You weren't going to win this game off of talent. You weren't going to win this game alone off of ability. You had to do those small things. You had to scrap. And to be fair on the defensive end, I think that the Suns showed a decent amount of effort tonight. This wasn't one of those games, Gerald, that I just sat back and I was like really frustrated and mad with the Suns' overall effort. It was more the end result of that effort.
Yeah, it didn't stack up, and I felt like there was more activity in this game. There was more liveliness, but again, for the second game in a row, it never felt like the Suns were really putting the Knicks in a position where they were threatening to take the lead. Like, yeah, they made those runs in the fourth quarter. They cut it to 5 or something like that, but it never felt like it was something that was sustainable for them. And like you said, it's on the margins. Like Ryan Dunn, 2 for 7, Royce O'Neal, 2 for 6. A lot of these guys putting up 4, 5 points, 0 points for some of the bench scorers. And this is why, one of Steven's keys to the game beforehand was bench impact and production. You look at the final numbers. Yeah, they had 28 bench points, but did they actually feel impactful outside of Grayson Allen?
But even Grayson Allen's 15 points from Grayson Allen in theory is awesome. 4-13 from the field, 0-6 from 3, 7-7 from the line, which is great. Like you mentioned, putting pressure on the rim, driving to the rim, drawing fouls is a skill and is something this team desperately needs. But our producer Noah was saying, man, watching this game, it just still feels like Grayson has more negatives than positives. I didn't leave this game thinking, man, what an impactful Grayson Allen game. There have been games where he scored less points, single-digit points, where I felt like he was more impactful than he was tonight. It felt the same way about Bradley Beal, who we're going to talk about in our next segment. We'll also be reading your super chats. We'll be getting into the play-in standings. The Kings did win today, so it got a little bit tougher for the Suns. And, of course, we will play a fun game. Stick with us. Hit that like button. Like goal is 125. We're going to keep this good time rolling right after this break. Maybe a good time. But it's always a good time outside when you have all pro shade concepts in your corner. But it's tough during the summer here in Arizona. 120 degrees is not for the weak of heart, and it's only getting hotter. But all pro shade concepts, well, you can customize your outdoor living space with them with a custom fit awning. And that awning can keep your outdoor patio up to 20 degrees cooler, especially in the shade. That makes a massive difference in the summer. Getting fresh air, going outside is such an integral part of staying healthy, and it's easier to do that with all pro shade concepts. Plus, you can trust them. They've been in business for 20 years in the Valley, voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024, and A+ Better Business Bureau ranking, and over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They'll get in and out as easy and as quickly as possible. All you have to do is call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. And if you are trying to go to a Suns game, bless your soul. But if you're trying to go anywhere else to get your mind off of it, buy your tickets through Game Time. We got my lovely wife in the chat. I always share this story. For her birthday, I wanted to give her concert tickets, but Gerald, I'm sure you know concert tickets, it sucks to buy them now.
Oh yeah, there's fees on top of fees, and they're so expensive.
It's just so much, and you don't know if you're getting ripped off. You don't know if you're getting scammed. Sometimes you don't know where your seat is. Well, Game Time takes care of all of that with Game Time picks. Filter out the fluff, find the best deals on your seat, click the all-inclusive pricing tab so there's no surprises. Plus, they have a price match guarantee where if you can find a cheaper ticket, they will give you 110% of the difference. You can see the view from your seat as well. I would always recommend using Game Time because that's what I use when I buy my tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Thank you to B. Will, Israel, Boom, everybody in the chat hanging out with us on a Sunday night. Yes, the Phoenix Suns lost 112-98, but we're still making sense of it. But we appreciate you guys sending us some cents or some dollars with your super chats. Let's get into it with Psycho Blue with a $5 super chat. Says, the help just showed up late. You know how that New York, New Jersey turnpike traffic can be. That's a good one, Psycho Blue.
That is good. Thank you, Maria, for your $10 super chat. Terrible day for me. I'm glad Bill was able to find some rhythm and some of his shot, but it was a little too late. I needed more people to show up with Book doing his job. It hurts. Season over.
You feel like the season's over?
I felt like that for a while. It's still not officially over if you look at the number of games and the play-in and whatnot, but we're pretty darn close now.
'Tis but a scratch. We've lost one arm, then the other arm, then the other leg, then the other leg, but we're still going.
We're still alive.
Somehow.
Still hopping around on one leg.
But let's talk about Bradley Beal.
Sure.
A little bit. Scoreless in the first half. I believe 4 points heading into the fourth quarter, ending the game with a relatively respectable 16 points, but shooting 8 of 19 from the field, 0 of 5 from deep, and 0 of 2 from the line. What was your biggest takeaway from Bradley Beal's second game back from injury?
It's not enough. It's just, in the words of Kendrick, it's not enough.
Not enough.
Like, 16, even with him coming to life in that fourth quarter, I think there was a stretch where he started 2 for 8, made his next 5 shots. Even with that stretch where he heated up, he still only gave you 16 points on 19 shots. That's just not enough for a player that's getting paid as much as he is. And again, second game back, yada, 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 coming off injury. If he's not 100%, if he's not ready to go at this point in the season when you need every win that you could possibly scrape together, he shouldn't be out there. The Suns have been better without him on the court all season. You look at the net rating, you look at the plus minus. All season long, they've been better without Bradley Beal on the court. You were seeing it play out in real time. There's really just no way to kind of put a positive spin on this outside of, well, in the fourth quarter of his second game back, he finally found some rhythm. It's too late. It's too late. Like, you have to win every game possible. You have to put yourself in the best position possible. Honestly, I knew it was never realistic that they were going to actually shut him down when he went down with the hamstring, but they would have been better off without him at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been saying that for a while now, that he's not bringing anything positive to himself or to this team. I will say one good stat for him is 6 tonight. He had 6 stocks, 4 steals, 2 blocks. But as a couple people are pointing out in the chat, primarily, I believe, it was Brent, pointed out that he made a lot of defensive mistakes as well. He doesn't look like a player who should be playing on an NBA court. And those 16 points, I think maybe 1 or 2 of those field goals were jump shots. Everything else were layups. And, you know, he missed a couple layups at the beginning, so good on him for settling into that. But like you mentioned, by the time that he actually started scoring, the Suns were so far behind. It never felt like they were actually threatening. And the points also just didn't feel impactful. It's the same thing with Grayson Allen. Those 15 points felt empty. These 16 points felt empty. Those 6 stocks. Like, if I asked you, just by watching the game, if you had not looked at the box score at all, how many stocks Bradley Beal had that game, would you have guessed 6?
I wouldn't have guessed 6. I knew that he had a number of steals because he did get his hand. He got in a couple passing lanes, got a couple easy ones. But yeah, like defensively, I still wouldn't even say that he was good tonight. I remember he had a good chase down block. Like I said, the couple of steals, but A couple people in my mentions and in the chat have been mentioning how many mistakes he made, how often he was out of position or late or got blown by. Like, it's kind of crazy that he wound up with 4 steals and 2 blocks with the defensive game that he had overall.
It's a Dyson Daniels stat line. B. Will says, y'all act like the man trying to hurt the team. And then we had another comment earlier saying, are we pretending like Bradley Beal isn't tanking this team?
Well, that's the crazy thing is all season long we've been accused of being too much of Bradley Beal supporters, and now that we're criticizing him, we're going too hard. So the irony of that is not lost on me at all. We're gonna call it how we see it. Like if a guy plays poorly, we're gonna say that he's not playing well. Because Bradley Beal, if you watch that game, even with 4 steals and 2 blocks, we're not saying he's intentionally trying to hurt the team, but he's sure as hell not helping right now.
No. And I feel like Bradley Beal this entire season, and I understand that there have been people who have been out on Bradley Beal for a long time, and I get it. And the fit has always been, in my opinion, rough. I said on a Knicks podcast earlier today that there was really no place for Beal here from the start, and Psycho Blue, our lovely diehard, disagreed and said there was a place at the start, but it just kind of slowly grew sour. The thing is, the Bradley Beal that we are seeing right now isn't the same Bradley Beal that we saw in December.
Yeah.
And injuries are one thing, but at the same time, when I feel like I've seen a decline in your effort, a decline in your, like, not abilities, but your overall willingness to sacrifice and to put on the line, and then you're also coming out with quotes like, I'm smiling through it all. I still have my no trade clause.
Right.
You know, I'm happy with my life. And you and I have talked about on the show, off the show, like separating those two things. Hey, that's great on a human level. I hope every human being can find happiness in their life despite their success or lack thereof in their job, especially in a public-facing job. That's a hard thing to do. Kudos to him for finding that inner balance and finding that inner peace. But when it comes at seemingly the detriment to the team, then you're starting to say, okay, well, I need you to care more. I need this to make you mad. I need this to get you going in the morning, especially because you said yourself that you feel responsible. So this guy, I don't blame him for mentally being checked out after everything that's been going through. I saw people tweeting about his wife today, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous and crazy.
Right.
Again, maybe he does want to rub it in the son's face. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, when he leaves the court, when he leaves the team, he's got his family. He thinks he's good. And kudos to him, man. But that sucks to have that guy be the highest paid player on your roster and to have 16 points tonight, but have them maybe be the least impactful 16 that I've ever seen.
Yeah. And this is something we've touched on in the past, is that he has that perspective that basketball is not the end all be all. He's a family man. You know, he's got different priorities, and you know, as a human being, that's a great and admirable thing. And as a fan of an NBA team, you're never going to feel good about that, especially when he goes out and performs to the level he's been playing at. So I don't blame fans for viewing him in that light and having a problem with it. It's when you take it past the basketball criticism that I back away from that, because that goes too far for me.
100%. And if any of that happens in this chat, which good job, it hasn't happened for a while, guys, we're going to shut that down and you'll be gone, which is maybe why it hasn't happened in a while. Let's get back to your super chats. Boom, boom, boom. Kev with a $2 super chat says, Phoenix Buns need Pepto because they muddy cheeks.
Oh, not muddy.
Yikes.
That's brutal.
Muddy cheeks is tough.
That is really tough. Thank you, Maria, for your $5 super chat. Also felt like a punch in the throat watching Devin embrace his former Suns teammates on the Knicks. Oh, the memories. Yeah. I mean, it's look, it's difficult because as much as I still stand by the thinking of the Kevin Durant trade, obviously it hasn't worked out. It's tough when you go from a team that was so beloved by fans, that was so much more successful than this current iteration, to what we're watching now. Yeah, there's really no way to. So, I understand why fans are upset about that. I still stand by that trade, but it just really, everything that happened after that has not worked out in terms of building around Book and KD, and that's kind of why we're, grass is greener somewhere else.
Sure, yeah. And listen, we talked to Andrew from Knicks Film School on our pregame show, and if you listen to that, you'll hear a couple things that are familiar that makes sense. Campaign has quickly become a fan favorite there as one of their 6 men off the bench who stepped into a starting point guard role when called upon and has done well, pushed the pace, shot threes, taken floaters. The Campaign thinks that he's even surprisingly a better defender than you would expect, which I always think about Campaign guarding Zion and just completely stonewalling him, right? But then I asked about Mikal Bridges, and I don't want to get into the whole you gave him up and now you wish that he was back type of thing. I don't like people acting like Mikal Bridges has been this perfect player since the Suns have traded him.
Sure.
Would I like him back on this team? For sure. Would he be a great fit next to Book? Absolutely. Is he a good player in this league? For sure. But they have the same complaints about him that the Suns and that the Nets had about him. Inconsistent offense, apparently, and I haven't watched a ton of Knicks games, but they're saying his defense has taken a step back as his athleticism has declined a little bit from his younger years, and there are big questions on how Mikal Bridges can perform offensively in the playoffs. I'm not saying that to take away from him, but what I'm saying is when the grass is always greener, if the Suns ran it back with Mikal and Cam and there was no success for 2-3 years after that, even if it was good teams, but they didn't win a championship, they flamed out in the playoffs again. You'd have people sitting here saying, why didn't the Suns make the win now move for KD? Right? And you could still disagree with moving for KD all you want, but I don't like doing revisionist history and pretending like the players that we traded away were perfect. Do we love them? Yes. Were they great players? Yes. But that doesn't make it like insane that they were moved on from.
Yeah. No, completely agree.
Noah.
$2 from BComC Clearly. I love Booker and Noah. I miss cutesy legs. Kissy
We're just
emoji.
chopped liver, huh?
I guess so. It's okay. We understand, BCom. We got a super chat from your wife.
Woo!
Why don't you go ahead and read that one?
Save that money. I feel like you should. I feel like you should read that one.
Okay. Sun suck. Vomit emoji.
There you go.
Happy early birthday, Eric. Love you.
I love you too. I will see you in
your
a couple of
tomorrow,
hours.
right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
That's
so
exciting.
nobody talk to me.
So the Suns did not give you an early birthday.
No,
present
they did
today.
not. But they don't play on my birthday, which is a great birthday gift.
Right.
Is that I don't have to deal with this team.
That's fair.
On my birthday.
That's fair.
And we'll see what they can do on Tuesday. Maybe me getting older will rub off on the team, and they'll be better as well. Love y'all with a $2 super chat. Says Beal and Grayson Allen tanking their value, shaking my effing head.
Yeah, the Beal stuff's not great. I think Grayson will still have some value.
But definitely less than when you signed his contract last season.
I think so. I think some team will easily be able to talk themselves into he was coming off the bench, and so that hurt his production, changing roles. He's still shooting 43% from three. Someone's going to be interested in that.
Again, I feel like you're going to have to see who flames out in the playoffs. I look at Orlando as not an easy mark, but as a team that, listen, your offense is not anywhere where it needs to be. Grayson Allen and Bradley Beal could hypothetically help that. But again, we got a week, Gerald.
We got a long
Trust
time.
me, everybody. Trades, free agency, firings, hirings.
We're going to be going through all of that, I'm sure.
Everything. Plus probably so much more that we haven't even thought about yet.
Oh, yeah.
You're back, Noah.
That I am. $5 from BComC Clearly. I don't hate Beal. That booty looked basic. I can go for some Booker, Dunn, heck, even give me Royce. Beal has the worst booty on the team. Noah has the best.
Wow.
That's crazy,
yeah.
man.
Girl in college said I
good
had
for
a
you.
dumpy, so
Excuse me?
Oh, no.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you don't want
No
him to
more
repeat
super
that.
chats from BComC Clearly. No more.
It's taking us to a dark place. We got a $5 super chat from Leo. Thank you, Leo. Gerald's getting close to officially being a dad.
Hey, something to actually look forward to.
That I am. Due date's coming up mid-May, May 21st. So senioritis is really setting in with the way that this season has gone. I won't lie to you.
Luckily, the Suns won't be playing then, so you won't be missing anything, and you can take care of little Goku Borgay with
You
all
keep
the
trying
attention.
to speak Goku into existence.
It's going to happen.
Okay.
David with a $5 super chat says, Suns didn't execute game plan of running back-to-back Knicks off the floor, except in the first quarter. Did Bud forget to remind them? Honestly, they cut to Bud in the middle of the game. It looked like he forgot where he was, period.
He was disassociating at one point. And it wasn't even during the time when Devin Booker was down for the whole possession and they didn't call a timeout.
Oh my gosh. I know we did that for the cold open.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Now,
the season it's been.
Just hand over this.
Mhm.
Just on the ground for like 5 seconds on the possession prior, right? So you can see that happen.
Right.
You run down the court. You don't have any advantage. It's not like Bradley Beal is wide open for a
They
layup.
could barely get it across half
Right.
court.
It's 4-on-5. Booker is still on the ground, and Bud's just standing there. Can I get the one shot like this?
Just disassociating. Possibly processing.
That's my Mike Budenholzer face.
That's not bad.
That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
Nuts.
That was tough. We got another $2 super chat from Maria. How many games does Colin have left? That's a good question. It hasn't come up in conversation, so I think he should be good to go for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They've only got 4 or 5 games left.
4 games left.
So I think he's okay because for most of the season he barely even played for them.
Yeah.
So he should be good to go.
And at the same time, you got to sign him. You have 4 games until you need to sign him. So let's just get that done. Let's just get out of here. Ooh, Gohan is another. Would you consider Gohan instead of Goku?
Gohan. I mean, Gohan's pretty cool.
Maybe Gohan, Goku, Borgay, and call him Double G. GG Borgay.
GG's.
You like that?
Kind of flames.
Okay, GG Borgay, Gohan, Goku, Borgay.
Okay, I'll run it by Amy and see what she thinks.
I'm sure she'll love it.
I don't
Israel
think so.
with a $5 super chat says, Suns need to get rid of Coach Bud, Bradley Beal, Tyus Jones, Nick Richards, Mason Plumlee, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal. This roster is no bueno. Well, we're going to talk about the roster, the rest of the role players, plus we're going to take a look at the numbers and where the Suns stand in the Western Conference. The only thing is, we're going to do it after this break. I did not win my bet today. In fact, I don't believe anybody hit their bet. Did they? No, nobody hit their bet per usual, but your boy is still multiple hundreds of dollars in the lead over at Bet365. Yes, Megan, Gerald is for real naming his son Goku.
That is not true.
For real. Just like Bet365 is for real the best place for you to do your sports gambling. You and along with 90 million of your closest friends worldwide. New customers right now get $150 in bonus bets. Plus, they also have the early payout offer for NBA games. If you pick money line and a team goes up by 20, that automatically cashes out for the win. You don't have to wait for the game to end. But right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code PHNX365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and get $150 in bonus bets. Whether your bet wins or loses, that can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. And whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. The Suns have hit their floor. It is an ugly one, but it's certainly not from Empire Today. But you know what?
Look at that.
That is. And Gerald, this flooring from Empire Today was installed over a year ago at this point. It's been a while, and it is holding up beautifully. And they were so quick with the installation process. It made our studio look so much better, made it feel more professional because they actually care, live, breathe, eat, sleep, poop flooring.
Right.
It's all they think about. The same way that all you think about is basketball and naming your kid Goku.
Exactly.
They only think about flooring. And right now, you can get a virtual floor visualizer, see how your floors fit in with your home, or you can schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home, like the Phoenix Suns during the playoffs. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yep, $350 discount with code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details. Sean says the floor of the basement.
Damn.
It's bad. And it's the basement. Like, it smells bad. There's water damage. It hasn't been aired out in a while. So maybe we take a look inside the basement, or maybe what's inside the box. Presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
This is a 112-98 loss to the New York Knicks. Like we said,
3-point percentage.
It's atrocious. Do you know how hard it is to lose a game where you take 18 more shots than your opponent by double digits? Like, they lost this game by 14 despite being a plus 18 on how many shots they took. And the reason for that is that they shot 11.8% from three. They only took 34 attempts. That's not a lot of attempts in the modern NBA. But when you only make 4 of those, you are due for a historically bad night. They're honestly lucky that this game was not significantly worse. If they had come out with the type of energy we've seen them have at times this season, it probably would have been a lot worse. The Knicks made 3 times as many threes on 6 fewer attempts. So they made those threes count. They also got to the foul line 5 more times, made 4 more free throws, out-rebounded the Suns 28-20. And that was actually supposed to be fast break points, but they were up 19-9 in fast break points.
Doesn't matter either way, man.
Oh.
They suck. They're
that
really
just got very
they're
existential.
Really, really bad. 11% from three, and they were good shots.
They had a lot of open ones.
This was not like a, man, got it. Although I'm sure Mike Budenholzer said it.
Sure.
Sorry, I had the butt face again. This is not a game where you just give credit to the Knicks.
No.
The Knicks did not play crazy. I mean, OG Anunoby had an incredible game.
He had a crazy third quarter.
Other than that, you didn't get 40 balled by Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns wasn't dominant. They were giving you wide open threes. They weren't shutting you down. Like you said, you got off 18 more shots. This was a game that the Phoenix Suns could have won even without Kevin Durant, but their inability to hit an open three is just awful. Sean says, good God, 4 for 34. Glad I only saw a handful of plays in this one.
Yeah. I mean, that's brutal, man. It's not like they shot a great percentage from two either, but the threes just really tanked anything that they were trying to do. And I'm counting in my head how many open ones that Beal missed, that Royce O'Neal missed, that Ryan Dunn missed. Like, nobody could knock down a shot tonight. Grayson Allen, like, these are shots that as a professional NBA basketball player, you have to hit. You have to make threes in the modern NBA. You don't have to take 50 to 60 threes like the Boston Celtics do on a nightly basis, but you have to at least keep pace with your opponent and knock down at a semi-respectable clip to give yourself a chance. They didn't do that.
So let's talk about some of these individual role players. There's only one player with a positive plus-minus on the night. That's Ryan Dunn, but overall the stat line is not great. Did play 34 minutes, which is kind of crazy. 34 minutes and a +5 tonight in this game, but 2 of 7 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, only 4 points. Did grab 8 rebounds, dished out a couple of assists, only 1 steal, but 4 personal fouls. How have you been feeling about Ryan Dunn as of late?
He's been struggling offensively for sure. And I think it's kind of blended over a little bit into the defense. I think the defensive effort is still there. He's still one of the guys who's actually going to chase opposing players around screens all over the court, off cuts, everything like that. But it's been a while since he's had, a good 10, 15 point outing where you felt good about the shooting percentages, where you felt good about the way that he was getting those buckets recently. And we said this the other night too. It's felt like it's kind of mostly been relegated to standing around, waiting to catch the ball, shoot a spot up three, and that's kind of it. They need to involve him more as a screener because him and Osa, it's kind of crazy, but the two rookies are the best guys at operating out of screens when they catch the ball in the short pocket, which is not what
finishing and passing.
Right. Finishing, passing, putting some pressure on the defense. They have the athleticism and the speed to actually make it matter when they catch the ball with an advantage in those situations, and it doesn't feel like other guys really put pressure on the defense in that way. So I would like to see the Suns lean into that maybe a little bit more than just having Ryan Dunn kind of camp out in the corner or on the wing. And, if he gets a look, he gets a look. And if not, he doesn't really, he did take 3 shots inside the arc, but
it's different. It's different when you find your way to those shots and when you feel like those shots are being set up for you. I feel for Ryan Dunn. I will say there has to be some responsibility given to him for the fact that he has been missing shots.
Yeah.
I think he has lacked some aggression, which does fall on him and not only on the coaching staff and on the team to set him up. Plus, he's missed some wide open ones as of late in these last couple of games. That being said, what I think you are seeing now is the consequences of shutting this guy down and refusing to let him get a rhythm. And I know what you might think. Well, Eric, he's been back in the rotation pretty steadfastly and starting for quite a while now. So how would that still impact it? We know that he's never been the greatest shooter, right? And we know that coming into this season, he was projected to be one of the worst offensive prospects we've seen in a long time. Shocked the world at the beginning, hit a bunch of threes, definitely evened out over time.
Right.
But without allowing him to continue to be in a rhythm, those type of things, they add up over time. And I'm not saying Ryan Dunn would be 4 for 4 from 3 tonight if he was able to play, when Bud shut him and Oso down unceremoniously. But I do think that his percentage would be incrementally better. And if he hit 1 or 2 more threes over the last couple of games, you would just feel better about his development. But I'm hoping with him, a full off season of work, shooting drills coming into next season with hopefully a defined starting role is on the table for him. Who knows what's going to be coaching, but I am a little disappointed with his lack of offensive growth, but I'm willing to give him a slight pass. I'm not going to completely ignore it, though.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that specifically that he hasn't grown offensively either, because I feel like lately especially it's been a lot of just standing around shooting spot up threes. I think that's in part a product of the way their offense moves or doesn't move when it doesn't have Kevin Durant out there, because it kind of is Book and everything else is created off of what Book does. But I feel like we've seen in the season him develop as a screener and, catching the ball in that short pocket. We've seen him kind of develop a Euro step in the lane when he gets in there, and a floater. These are things that he's talked about with us that he's working on all season long. So I feel like he's much further along offensively than I was anticipating.
For sure.
The problem is, heading into the year, we didn't expect Ryan Dunn to be a necessary starter, a guy where we look at and say, if he's not starting, we're going to give up 135 points. Like, I think this season and the way that it has devolved has put so much pressure on him to go out there and be a 10 to 12 points contributor in his rookie year, which was just never realistic coming into the year. I think he's shown more than I was expecting. I would have never guessed that he would have shot 31% from three this season. That would have been way higher than I would have guessed for him. So I'm encouraged by that. But I think the state of things for the Suns and how much they've had to rely on a rookie coming in and starting and being, a normal starter in this league, which is about 10 to 12 to 15 points, that's too much to ask of him in his rookie year.
Yeah, much like a lot of people on this team, he's been put in a rough spot. And I'll rephrase what I said about the lack of offensive growth, because you're right. He has added a lot to his game. I am not one to malign Ryan Dunn often, or really ever. So yeah, I'll rephrase that. I guess just more, we saw a lot of that growth and a lot of that change way earlier than we expected, Gerald, partially because of the role that he was thrust into, but also because I think he was just better than a lot of people were expecting him to be. And his role in Virginia, they didn't need him or want him to be a scorer. They're like, let's try to hold teams to 30 points tonight. Right. That was Virginia basketball. So when he came out on the court and he was developing those things, and it felt like as soon as he started getting that short roll game, which was a new development, then he got sat down. So instead of saying that he lacked offensive growth, I feel like his offensive growth was stunted.
Sure.
Right. So it's like, hey, we've been giving you milk and all your calcium and your veggies, and you've been growing, and now you get to eat crackers for 3 meals a day. So you're not going to grow big and strong like you were growing big and strong before. And so that's kind of what I meant saying he wasn't, I guess, continuing his offensive progression. And that is a little bit concerning, but I think it's out of his control. And so I want to continue to talk about the other player, like Oso tonight, 4 for 4 from the field, another person who was unceremoniously benched. I feel like with him, he's in the same situation as Ryan Dunn. His deficiencies, his weaknesses are on full display because he's thrust into a role he's not ready for, but I'm still feeling solid about his future in the league with how he's held his own.
Absolutely. These are very critical complementary pieces that are going to be good for this team depending on how they retool over the summer, and could take on more responsibility, take on more as they add to their games. But like you mentioned, it's year one in the NBA for them, so expecting it to happen here and now just because that's what the Suns need from them is kind of unfair and unrealistic to their progression, to their trajectory. But I do feel confident about what I've seen from them. They are best as complementary pieces right now. And you see that especially more when Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are both on the court together because of the things that they can lend to the table. But when you take one of those guys away and have to rely on those guys to do a lot more, that's when it gets a little bit dicey. But I'm really encouraged by what they've shown me this season and how it kind of fits into the long-term puzzle.
So any other things from this game specifically before we'll take a break? We'll look at the playoff standings, and then we'll play a fun little draft.
Only, you mentioned it earlier, but only 3 minutes for Cody Martin is kind of tough. I know that he wasn't great, and you look at the plus minus, it wasn't good, minus 10. But still.
Against a wing-heavy team like this. Colin Gillespie, only 18 minutes tonight. Tyus Jones, 20. 0 of 6 from the field for Colin, 1 of 5 for Tyus. But Colin came in and got 3 steals immediately.
He did.
Sign that guy, please. We're going to build our own team of Suns and Knicks players, the same way that we kind of just talked about players who played for both teams. Now we're going to build our starting 5 and 6 man from former Suns and Knicks players. Plus, we're going to take a look at where the Suns stand in the playoffs, or outside of the playoffs and the play-in, right after our final break. Relax tonight. Why don't you? You've earned it. You deserve it. And why don't you do it with Pure Edibles? Founded in Arizona and available in 130 dispensaries statewide, the best part about Pure Gummies is not just the fact that they don't taste like other edibles that are disgusting and just covered in sugar, but that they actually taste like real candy, or the fact that they have so many different options, whether it goes from Kicks, their Starburst options, to hard candies, to soft chews, to gummies, but that the effects of their CBN, CBG, and of course THC-based gummies are all listed clearly on the tin. So if you're trying to relax, why don't you pick up the one that says relax? If you're trying to sleep, why don't you pick up the one that says sleep? If you're trying to be uplifted, well, you get where I'm going. Pure Gummies are designed to be ripped or bit in half so you can dial in your exact dose, which is extremely important when it comes to edibles. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And on your way back, before you indulge, stop at Circle K. This week, April 10th at Circle K, you can get this, 40 cents off per gallon. That is a lot of money. 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. There's only one catch, Gerald.
What's that?
You got to be a member of the Inner Circle.
Oh, okay.
But there's no catch to being a member of the Inner Circle. Do you know what it costs to be a member of the Inner Circle?
I think it's $0.
Yeah, $0.99. Just kidding. It's just zero. Absolutely Free. All you have to do is download the Circle K app, put in your phone number, put in your email. By the time this ad read is over, you could be saving tons of money on gas. Yeah, you get 40 cents off per gallon on April 10th, but you get 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. After that, 3 cents off per gallon on every single fill-up, and then eventually that bumps up to 5 cents off per gallon, not to mention the countless Inner Circle member-exclusive deals on drinks and on snacks. Plus, May 6th is Circle K's big giveaway. Customers can enter to win prizes, cash, and more. Visit CircleK.com/big giveaway and join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Thank you, everybody, hanging out with us on a Sunday night. Let's read this super chat before we get into the push for the playoffs. Sebas, 199. Sorry for butchering your name. Says Kings beat the Cavs. This is so depressing. Well, you should maybe drive this show, Sebas, because you let us completely, perfectly, smoothly right into the push for the playoffs / push for the play-in / push me off a cliff, presented by All Pro Shade Concepts. Phoenix Suns still gray, Gerald. And the Kings beat the Cavs today, meaning that the gap between them just got bigger.
It did. And actually, because of that win, the Kings jumped over the Mavs for number 9 on this list. So the Kings are actually 3 games ahead of the Suns. They are in 9th. The Mavs are now in 10th. They are 2.5 games up on the Suns. I was not expecting this. The Kings were kind of in free fall, and then they lost to the Wizards, who were sitting like basically everyone.
They beat the damn Cavs.
Then they beat the Charlotte Hornets, and then they bounced back with a win over the Cavs. I can't really put my finger on what that team is doing. Do the Cavs just owe
every Western Conference play-in hopeful a win?
I guess. The Cavs aren't exactly going into the playoffs feeling good about the way they've been playing recently. But yeah, so Suns are now 2.5 games back of the Mavs for number 10. They are 3 games back of the Kings for number 9. So technically both are still in play. You're probably hoping that the Kings fall apart. The Suns can get a couple wins going into that Sunday finale against the Kings, because due to division tiebreaker, which would be the next tiebreaker, usually it's head-to-head. If the Suns win that final game of the regular season, they're tied with the Kings 2-2 for the season series. The next tiebreaker would be division record. The Suns have a much better division record than Sacramento, so they would win if they win on Saturday and their record is even.
But you have to be even by the time you get there.
You have to get there. You have to make up 3 games now, which is really tough, because we were saying before, like, if you beat the Spurs, that's good. You're probably going to struggle with the Warriors, Thunder back-to-back. Now you kind of need one of the Warriors, Thunder back-to-back, and Sacramento to kind of lose out here.
You kind of need to win all 3, to be honest with you, to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because this is Sacramento's upcoming schedule. And again, they just beat the Cavs. So keep in mind when I say they play Detroit, Denver, LA, and then Phoenix.
Yeah. So, yeah, and tomorrow in Detroit is the second night of a back-to-back, so at least
Detroit's
that's good.
a good team.
Detroit is a good team.
But the Suns are playing Tuesday against Golden State, great team playing great basketball. Wednesday against Oklahoma City, best team in the NBA in the regular season, playing the best in the regular season basketball.
Yep.
San Antonio, April 11th, no Wemby. End of the season, they have nothing to play for except for losing. which is exactly why the Suns might lose that game. And then you take on Sacramento on Sunday afternoon, a week from today. Gerald, it might just be all over.
It might be. And you look at the Mavs' remaining schedule because they're technically closer. They've only got 3 games left. They've got the Lakers on Wednesday, the Raptors on Friday, and the Grizzlies on Sunday for their finale. Lakers and Grizzlies could potentially be tough, but the Mavs have been scrappier than I think a lot of people were expecting.
Absolutely.
And the Raptors, that feels kind of like a gimme at this point in the season. So,
yeah, Dallas just lost back-to-back games to the Clippers, beat the Hawks, lost to the Nets before that, but then before that, they won 4 out of their last 5, including wins over the Pistons, the Magic, the Bulls, and the Nets, and a 15-point loss to the Knicks. How about this? None of these teams are good. Every single one of these teams is poopy, bad at basketball.
Yeah.
And the Suns are the worst of them.
Yeah, that's the demoralizing part is that you have like no room for error at all.
Well, Gerald, do you want to talk about good basketball players?
Yeah, let's do that.
So here's what we're going to do, okay? Last post-game show, because, God, we didn't want to talk about that game anymore against the Celtics, we decided to just go back and forth and naming players who played for both teams. This time, we're changing things up a little bit. We have a list of every player, or at least I do, that played for the Suns and the Knicks in front of us, and we are going to build our starting 5 plus a 6th man of all-time players that have played for both the Suns and the Knicks. So here is how the rules are going to go here. We're going to flip a coin. Somehow Noah's going to flip a coin or something.
Sure.
One of us is going to call it in the air. Whoever that is gets to pick if they pick first or second. You get the player's prime, their best year with either team.
With either Suns or Knicks.
Not best year of their career, but with either the Suns or the Knicks. So, like, if you take somebody who had a great season somewhere else, doesn't matter.
Irrelevant.
It's only Suns or Knicks.
Sure.
So, Noah, are we ready to flip a coin either virtually or in real life?
Yeah.
Let's flip a foam finger.
Flip a phone. You're just going to knock. Just gonna break Goran Dragic, man. Come on.
We're already broken. Okay,
So that's
this
heads.
This is Eric. This is Gerald.
Oh, okay. Word.
Okay.
It's me.
All right.
I'm gonna take the number.
You get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the number 1. I'm gonna take
I think it's a no-brainer.
I'm gonna take Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I listen, I wouldn't have been mad with the second pick because I do think that there's a nice group at the top and then it gets a little shakier after that.
Yeah.
So getting back-to-back picks at 2 and 3 might prove to be good value, but I love me a little Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, he was the no-brainer number 1 pick.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's where it gets
3.
interesting.
I'm interested. I'm actually interested to see where you go.
Okay, because there are a lot of different avenues here. I am gonna go with Mikal Bridges and Jason Kidd with my back-to-back picks.
Okay. Perimeter defense.
I got 2 good defenders already.
Some good offense too.
Got some good shooting.
Here's the thing. I think you just gave me this draft because now I have back-to-back picks.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes, you do.
Give me Tyson Chandler.
I don't know about giving you the
Knicks
draft.
Tyson Chandler. Did he not win Defensive Player of the Year?
He did.
Okay, so I got Amari and Tyson Chandler as my 4-5.
You do. You have no spacing, but that's
not
fine.
yet. Not yet. Give me Stephon Marbury.
Ooh, I
as
did
my
not
point
give
guard.
you the draft. If that's
come on.
No.
Come on.
No,
20
no.
20 and 8. He's going to be just...
Stephon was great, but I've said this on this program before. Stephon was highly overrated in his NBA
I agree,
career.
but I don't need him to do everything, and I need a ball-dominant guard who can get his shooting done.
Oh,
There's
man.
another point guard that I would have drafted, but my shooting would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So for my own fit, give me Tyson Chandler,
Okay.
Amari Stoudemire, and Stephon Marbury.
Okay, so you left me a 20 points per game score on the board with Paul Westphal, so I'm going to scoop him
That's a good
up.
pick.
And then from there, this is where we're starting to get really into the role players here. I'm going to take Jamal Crawford.
Oh, I was going to see if Jamal
would have
slipped.
Yeah, Jamal, I'm probably going to take him early and slot him in as my 6th man just because that's what he does. But
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Well, you said I need shooting.
Yes.
Brother, I'm going to get it.
Okay.
Give me Q Rich.
Okay. Key Rich.
Quentin Richardson.
Love Key Rich.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to eat. Marbury, Q Rich, Amari, and Tyson Chandler. Ooh, I like this team, Gerald. Give me 2K right now. Fire it up.
Okay. Who's your next pick?
That's right. I get 2. Alfred Payton. No, I'm kidding.
You can never have too many Alfred Paytons.
You can never have too many Alfred Paytons.
In the
Okay,
words.
so let me talk this through. So I've got Stephon as my 1. I got Q Rich as my 2. I got Amari as my 4. And Tyson Chandler as my 5. So I'm looking for a 3. But I can also do a 2-3 hybrid because my 4 and my 5 are pretty damn good defensively.
Sure.
And this is my second to last pick. There's a couple of people with the last name Thomas that I'm interested in.
There are a few Tommy.
There's a couple big men that I would like that I think I'll definitely be able to snag one of them for my 6th man, and I'm hoping for one. So I just need a good fit, man.
Okay.
You know what? At small forward, this guy averaged 12 points per game with the New York Knicks. Give me Jalen Rose.
Oh, wow. I didn't even have Jalen Rose on my board.
Jalen Rose played 1 season with the Suns.
Okay.
Averaged 3.7 points per game. But with the Knicks, averaged 12.7 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2.6 assists, shot 49.1% from 3 that year with New York. So give me a nice spot-up shooting forward, Jalen Rose.
Okay. Let's see here. So I've got...
So yeah, your last 2 picks. Who do you have so far?
So far, I have Jason Kidd, Mikal Bridges, Paul Westphal, and Jamal Crawford. Very heavy in the guard.
Yeah, you need a
forwards.
big.
I need a big here.
You might need 2 bigs.
Oh,
I know there are 2 bigs that I'm looking at.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take Channing Frye with one of them.
Okay, not the big that I was.
Because I'm gonna keep spreading the floor here because your team can't really defend outside of Key Rich, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna keep. Well, I guess Tyson, obviously Tyson, but
Tyson. I mean, Jalen Rose is fine.
But Tyson on the perimeter, he's gonna be food a little bit. But so is the next big that I might have to take here. So what are we even talking about?
There's a big here that for the Suns, I'm picking with the next pick if you don't take him.
I think I know who you're going to take. There were a couple actually underrated bigs here.
Oh, for sure. There's two very underrated bigs that I was thinking about taking. Landry Shamet still on the board.
Sure, of course. Landry.
Robin Lopez still on the board, by the way, who averaged 10 and 7 with the Knicks.
Robin Lopez was one of the guys I'm considering.
If you needed another guard, which you don't, Penny Hardaway is still on the board.
See, I thought about him, but since it's Knicks and Suns years, that one's a little tough.
I was thinking about him maybe for my 6th man, but I'm probably going to pass on that. I could talk about this because you don't.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm going to go with Antonio McDyess.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was not one of the 2 bigs I was thinking of.
No,
I was going old school.
Okay.
Neil Walk.
Oh,
and
no.
Truck Robinson.
Okay, Truck Robinson, yes.
Neil Walk with the Suns.
No, Neil Walk's known as like the guy that wasn't the top pick that they wanted to take.
He wasn't as good, but for a 6th man for me, I'm going to go with Truck as my 6th man.
That's a better pick.
Also in contention, current New York Knicks legend, PJ Tucker.
I thought about drafting him, but I needed another big at the end.
Yeah, I'm going with Truck as my 6th man off the bench.
Truck's a good one.
I'm surprised that you did not pick up Truck. Xavier McDaniel is also somebody that was good on both teams.
Tim Thomas,
definitely.
Dick Van Arsdale.
Maurice Lucas, old school player.
Yep.
Very good on both teams as well. I think
it was between Lucas and McDyess for me at the end.
Yeah. All right.
I just can't believe that you guys didn't pick Bubble Marcus Morris on the Knicks.
He was dead last on my big board. I had to put him there because he averaged like nearly 20 points a game for his 1 season with the Knicks.
Yeah, that was crazy.
There was no way in hell you were going to pay me enough to draft him in this one.
Other players you could have gotten: Matt Barnes, Trevor Ariza, Jimmer Fredette, Langston Galloway.
You did not throw Jimmer Fredette's name in
I'm just
there.
messing around right now. Let's see who else.
Good old Langston Galloway.
Yeah, I loved Langston Galloway, man. Langston Galloway was so sick. Was there anybody else? Dennis Scott, if you needed a little shooting. Cameron Payne.
I think Dennis Scott was bad with both the Suns and the Knicks by that point.
Oh no, he was, but still.
But a recognizable name.
Shannon Brown, Hop City. Quincy Acey, underrated. Love me some Quincy.
Great beard.
All right, that's going to do it here on PHNX Suns. We do have a super chat from Emilio saying first reactions to Houston ending up with flag. Stop. We will be doing a live watch along for the draft lottery so that you can see our misery in person. Gerald might be handling some other more important things with Goku Borgay, but we will see. But first things first, We got to get through Tuesday. We will be off tomorrow. We appreciate everybody tuning with us tonight. It will be the Warriors and the Suns squaring off back at home. Steven will be back, and of course, I'll be here as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Make sure you are tuned into everything that PHNX has to offer, not just Suns, but Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Rising, ASU, U of A, Mercury, and of course, check out our Green Jacket Open on April 12th. Gerald and I will both be there hanging out with you. Sign up as a single or as a foursome. Compete in some fun games. Maybe win a new car. Win some more prizes. Watch the Masters. It's going to be a fantastic time at the PHNX Green Jacket Open, April 12th at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. Check that out at gophnx.com. We'll be back on Tuesday for more pain and suffering and misery together. Thanks for joining us for it.
We all silly like the mayor.